Jonathan Schick back with you with another edition of Shtisel Man. So we're heading towards the finish line. We're now at Shtisel Season 3, Episode 8, which is the penultimate episode prior to the finale. And I want to focus this time around really focusing on one of the main protagonists in our series, and that's Akiva Shtisel. So why can't Akiva just love Racheli? She is seemingly the perfect match, as Shulam screams at Akiva during this episode. Hashgacha, divine providence has fallen upon you. You have this wonderful girl, etc., and you just can't seem to bite the bullet, and you keep looking not to her, but through her, to your old wife, to your deceased wife, Livy. So the conventional answer is that Akiva can't give up his love for his late wife, just like Shulam really had a hard time giving up his love for his late wife. But there's a big difference between the two. When it comes to Shulam, Shulam was married a very long time and had kids together, and it was a whole long life together in marriage. And that's something that, you can mourn for, and you can continually mourn for and have trouble moving on. But Akiva was married for such a short time. And remember, in previous episodes, I talked about why the writers did not sort of develop the Libby and Akiva love story more. And perhaps this is why. Perhaps because Akiva never really loved Libby to the degree that he could have. Certainly they weren't married a long time. You notice that on their wedding night, when she asks Akiva to unzip, unbutton her wedding gown in a most provocative and one of the most romantic and scenes, and perhaps, for Shtisel, sexual potential scenes in the show. Instead, Akiva wants to paint her. And when Racheli decides to leave and say, "Enough, Akiva," but Akiva then asks, "Can I paint you?" That's how he expresses his love. But I would go to a level further and say Akiva's real reason for not loving Racheli is not because he's fixated on his dead wife. It's because he can't love anyone until he starts loving himself. See, the thing is that unless you love yourself, you can't love others. Self-love has to come first, and then you can love on the other. If one does not truly love themselves, there's nothing in the vessel to give to somebody else, right? In our ethics of the fathers, the rabbis of old have said that, Im ein ani li mili, if I am not for myself, who's going to be for me? But then it continues, but if I'm only for myself, then what am I? So there's no question that one needs to give to others to live a meaningful life, but it needs to start with oneself. If one is unable to see the goodness and the love in themselves, it's very difficult to love on another. And so this might be the secret reason that Akiva, and it could be the reason why Shtisel did not develop the Libby-Akiva storyline, because could Akiva have really loved on Libby? But the fact is that she died and there was never a chance to. He's in love with his painting. He's in love with love, as was said before. But is he in love with himself? Once he can find in himself the ability to really recognize his intrinsic worth, then he can start loving on such a wonderful lady like Racheli. And that would be the secret to Akiva's pursuit of a meaningful relationship. It's got to start with himself. Hope you enjoyed this episode, a shorter episode of Shtisel Man. Next week will be the finale. And also I wanted to put out there that I am open for speaking engagements throughout the country. on Shtisel and Judaism and related topics. If you're interested, please email shtiselman@gmail.com or send me a note here. All the best. Don't forget to subscribe. And till next time, we'll talk to you soon. I'm Shtisel Man.